Robert Mugabe addressed Zimbabwe in a bizarre news conference Sunday, leaving his future as the nation's president unclear. The 93-year-old leader looked frail as he rambled through a 20-minute address on state-run TV, flanked by military leaders. But he left Zimbabwe and the world puzzled as the exacerbated Mugabe said thank you and good night without uttering a word of his widely expected resignation. Mugabe, who has ruled Zimbabwe for 37 years, rarely looked up from his prepared text, which focused on Zimbabwe's cash-strapped economy and infighting within the ruling party ZANU-PF. He often stumbled over his words, shuffled papers and remarked, "Oh, that's a long speech," near its end. Yet Mugabe didn't directly address the fact that hours earlier ZANU-PF's Central Committee ousted him as party leader. Leaders gave him until noon Monday to resign or Parliament would begin to impeach him. Instead, Mugabe called for unity within the frayed leadership. "I am aware that many developments have occurred in the party, or have been championed and done by individuals in the name of the party," he said. Given the failings of the past and the anger this might have triggered in some quarters, such developments are quite understandable. Mugabe even implied he'd preside over ZANU-PF's Congress in a few weeks, despite no longer leading the party. PHILIMONBULAWAYOREUTERS He said the intergenerational conflict must be resolved, which is believed to be a reference to his attempt to name his wife, Grace, as his successor. Critics panned Mugabe's speech on social media, while others speculated the sometimes confused-looking president may have just forgotten to read that he resigned. Mugabe has been under house arrest for nearly a week, after the military seized control of Zimbabwe's capital, Harare. He has reportedly spent his time in confinement negotiating the terms of a dignified resignation. Members of ZANU-PF broke out in dance following the decision Sunday to remove Mugabe from power. Emmerson Mnangagwa, also known as the Crocodile, is set to lead Zimbabwe when he is formally elected head of the party in December. He was formerly vice president of Zimbabwe until he was fired earlier this month. Mnangagwa was able to succeed after the military took control last Tuesday. Then Curtis Ap Grace Mugabe, his 52-year-old second wife who was widely reviled in Zimbabwe, was positioned to succeed her husband, who once vowed to rule until death. Military brass seized control of state-run TV on Tuesday, assuring the public order was restored to Zimbabwe and bad influences around Mugabe were removed. Grace Mugabe was reportedly expelled from the nation. ZANU-PF has also accused her of preaching hate, divisiveness and assuming roles and powers not delegated to the office, and has removed her from its Women's League. Mugabe had accused Mnangagwa of plotting to wrest control of Zimbabwe away from him, going as far as consulting with witch doctors. His firing incised leaders, prompting the military to move in and place Mugabe under house arrest Tuesday. Since then, he has been seen meeting at his state residence with military leaders. Mugabe has reportedly spent the time negotiating and unsuccessfully stalling his departure from power. Mugabe was integral in the revolution that saw Zimbabwe gain its independence, ousting the white leadership of what was then called Rhodesia. He first became prime minister in 1980, and held the post until he became president in 1987, with Newswire services.